Let's go to Buddy. Buddy, good morning.
Don't miss the next Morning Line beginning at 8 on News Channel 5 Plus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, day, and night. Thank you for making News Channel 5 #1 in every single newscast. From the News Channel 5 network, this is Morning Line.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Morning Line. I am Nick Barris. It is Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. It's hot, sizzling out there. This time of year, a lot of things start changing for us when it comes to our pets. They spend a lot of time outside. I've got a pug that has trouble breathing as it is because his face is flat, and so he can't handle this hot weather. So we do let him inside, and I put a lot of ice cubes in his water, and he's enjoying that. But that's just one of the issues I have to deal with my pets. This morning, you may be dealing with some of your own, and that is why today on this Monday we are talking animal care, pet care, taking your questions. The number on the screen, 737-7587, and I'm not going to answer those questions. It is my good friend and chum, Alison Field's here with us.
How are you, Nick?
Good morning. It's nice to see you, Alison. As always,
good to be
a
here.
pleasure. It is.
Yes.
It's nice. It's been a few weeks since you've been on, and
Yes.
the heat kicking up a bit.
It's horrible.
Things people need to take into account for
Yes.
their pets.
Come on,
and all
Nick.
that.
Tell them what it is. What do they need to do?
Well, what do you mean in terms
For
of
the
like my
pets.
pug?
Well, in general, what do the pets need?
You gotta have to make sure there's fresh water
Right?
outside,
And
make sure that they have
shelter.
shade.
Yeah.
Mary Elena back there said shade.
Did
She's
she?
right, shade.
She got
Yeah.
it.
She's absolutely right. You're right. Well, those are such no-brainers, but you find more than a few folks sometimes neglect
Yes.
those things.
Yes, absolutely.
You just can't do that. It's so hot out there, and certain breeds have a tougher time with it than others, right?
Your Brachiocephalic breeds, like your pug,
Flatter face.
little animals that look like they run into the wall.
Yeah.
They have a harder time cooling themselves because dogs cool themselves. They don't sweat, so they pant, and as they breathe in through their nose with this long nose, they have lots of little bitty bones in their nose that are covered with capillaries. So as they breathe, all of this air is cooling their blood in their nose, which then cools their body. So when you have a collie, is very good at cooling themselves because they have these very long noses. A pug's nose is all of about that long.
Right.
Bulldog.
Yeah.
So the shorter the nose, the harder time they have cooling themselves off, and they're much more prone to having heat stroke.
Yeah, and their mouths are open a lot.
Constantly.
Constantly.
Right.
Wait, and I'm not sure everyone always remembers this. So dogs do not sweat.
They actually, the only place that they sweat is in their foot pads. And it's not a whole lot.
No, that's not going to help. But I mean, on the coat,
Nope.
on their body,
Nope.
dogs
No
don't
sweat glands. Correct.
And so there's no way really for them to cool themselves off internally that way.
That's how we cool ourselves.
Of course. Yeah, it makes a big difference. And so without that, then what about hosing them down, getting them cool and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Like
If
that?
you think your dog has gotten overheated or is having heat stroke, absolutely. Make sure if you're going to do that, a lot of times our hoses have water trapped in the summer. We get that big burst of really hot water to start with, but make sure that comes out and then hose them down with cool water or submerge them into cool water. If you have a pool, obviously get in with them, submerge them, but you don't want to keep them in there for a long period of time. Usually just a good dousing, maybe every few minutes is fine. Don't keep them in there because if we bring that temperature down too quickly, we can cause a lot of problems. So even when we have a heat stroke come in the clinic, we cool them off for a minute or so with cool water or ice packs, and then as soon as their temperature is starting to drop, we take all that off of them and let it come down
gradually. Why is that? If it comes down too fast,
you can cause metabolic problems.
Gotcha. Another thing, I have a friend of mine who has, I guess it's a golden retriever, really huge fluffy dog, and I didn't even recognize it when I saw it this weekend because he had taken it in to have it shaved. Now I can't do that with a pug. Of course they shed plenty.
Well, I guess I've seen pugs shaved.
I'm
a big kind of.
What do you think?
Dogs use their hair and their fur to cool themselves. It's their air conditioning. So I'm always a little leery of taking it off of them. If you have an outdoor dog, maybe a little bit of a trim helps. But I'm a big proponent of leaving what God gave them
Oh, okay.
And making sure they have shelter, because, you know, you can go feel an Akita and the top of that fur is very hot in the sun, just stick your hands down underneath, and it's a whole different story
it's
underneath
insulation
there.
then that goes both ways.
Yes, it protects them from the hot, it protects them from the cold.
Okay, so almost, my friend, and the dog clearly enjoys running and cools off faster with it, and he's a very good owner, so it's inside.
And I get concerned about those dogs maybe possibly getting sunburned. So as long as your owner, you're paying attention, and a lot of times if you have a dog that has that much fur, and you're going to creeks and lakes and the dog is swimming, it's a whole lot easier to care for if it's short. So, it's, I don't know, 6 1 half dozen the other, whether or not you should shave your dog.
And have you seen a dog with sunburn?
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Meaning it's been cut so short that some of the skin's exposed, and it's obviously like any skin that's not used to it.
Ouch.
Just like us. They peel?
Yes.
Really?
Ouch.
Yeah. All right, sunburn. Didn't even think about that. All right, as usual, we're going to open up the phone lines for you. The number 737-7587. We always have a large audience. On any given day, we could potentially have 500,000 people watching. Okay, potentially. It's a cable channel. But we also have an additional 3. We have Jeff LaRue and Francis.
Yes. My parents and my grandmother.
Are they watching? I mean, I'm a little nervous.
They said they were watching. Are you nervous?
I'm a little nervous on this. I mean, not any more so than ever.
They're very nice.
Do you think LaRue might call in with a question about her pet?
She said she wouldn't.
Okay, she can if she wants.
I know, but she said she wouldn't.
Okay, it's up to her. Well, I'm glad they're watching. All right, but we are going to take phone calls, 737-7587 throughout the show if you want to jump in. I wanted to ask you, as usually our first segment, we kind of set the table for you. We always talk about the flea and tick control, and we'll probably get a few calls.
This is going to be a bad tick here.
It is. Why? What's the tick?
I'm already seeing them.
Just coming in and it's heavy duty.
I'm seeing ticks. I'm seeing animals walking in the clinic that maybe there's a tick just crawling around on them, just trying to find a home. I think it's going to be a really bad tick here.
All right, now ticks, obviously, just like, you don't like them on you don't like them on your dog. Just because they have ticks doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get one of the illnesses that's associated with ticks.
No, right? And ticks have to be on an animal, for humans included, for a period of time in order to transmit diseases.
How long, if there's a guess? I know you probably don't have a specific, but more than a couple minutes?
When I was in vet school, I think they taught us that if you're out hiking, you should be doing a tick check every 4 to 6 hours, minimum every 8 hours, I think they said. So the tick has to get onto its host and then start sucking blood, and then as they get fuller and fuller, they start regurgitating because they're so full, and that's when they transmit disease.
They're passing whatever from them.
So, I think that the thought process is, if you're doing a tick check every 4 to 6 hours and you're getting ticks off of yourself, your chances, I'm sure that there's some really fast tick out there somewhere, but your chances for contracting one of the tick-borne illnesses, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Lyme disease, Borrelia, there's lots of them. There's a new one that they were just talking about in Tennessee. I don't know, I saw it on the news the other day. But I think your chances are dramatically decreased if you're getting ticks off and not allowing them to stay on for a long time and get a full meal.
Right. Okay, now does Frontline and Advantage, you have to get the special one. I know they deal with fleas.
Advantage is just fleas.
Okay.
Advantix is fleas and ticks.
Okay.
Frontline is fleas and ticks. There are a lot of generic Frontlines out now because their patent has expired. There's also a new product called NexGard, which is an oral tablet that does fleas and ticks. So there's lots of good tick control out there.
We'll take a few calls.
Collar.
Right, and how you decide. Right. Did you say preventive collar?
Preventic collar is one, and then there's a Seresto collar, which is a good flea and tick collar too.
Gotcha. All right, and we probably will get a few calls on those and how you know which ones work better for you. And if one doesn't work as well, you can always try another. Let's take a quick phone call before we go to the break from Joanna. Hi, Joanna.
Hello, Nick.
Hello.
It's Joanna with the 3 little toy poodles.
Hey, good to hear from you.
The mommy and the little boy and the little girl. My little girl, she gets dry heaves, and she'll sound like she's choking, but she's not choking. And she just kind of stiffens up and she'll like dry heaves. And every time she drinks water, she does that too. And then after about 9 or 10 times she does it, she'll stop.
Sounds like
and she does it not all the time, every day.
Have you been to your vet about it?
Oh, I go to the vet all the time, but he's never said nothing about it. He said, well, evidently she's just drinking water too fast.
Yeah, I don't think she's dry heaving. I think she's having what's called a reverse sneeze.
A reverse
What?
sneeze.
A reverse sneeze is what it probably
Rarely
sounds.
diagnosed, but our veterinarian here is all over that. Listen closely, Joanna. The reverse sneeze.
It's
one
very
of those,
common.
It
You
is?
stop,
Sorry.
yes.
Okay. Listen up,
It's
Joanna.
very common.
Wait, talk about the reverse sneeze.
It's where the soft palate that's in the back of the throat and the epiglottis, which is what protects the trachea, so when you drink, you don't get water down your airway. When you get down the wrong tube, your epiglottis was slacking off. So these guys usually work together. And in some breeds of dogs, the soft palate is a little longer, and then they get tangled up and they make that noise.
Okay, so is it something, first of all, is it fatal?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's not fatal at
No.
all. Is it something that she'll just have to learn to drink water slower so it doesn't happen?
Either that or it doesn't happen. And sometimes it gets worse in different times of the year due to allergies or things like that. And some vets will suggest, and if people can track it and say, yes, it's worse this time during the year or that time, sometimes an antihistamine will help.
Okay.
But no, the dog's not going to die from it.
Good.
Yeah.
Joanna, I don't think you could have called any other program anywhere, not just in this city, but anywhere in the country, and gotten the diagnosis of a reverse sneeze. That is one reason why you are the best.
Right.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got more phone calls coming in. The number is 737-7587. As far as I can tell, we do not have a phone call yet from LaRue, but that's okay because many of the viewers like to sit back and watch and learn and not call. But you're invited to join us if you'd like.
They have a personal veterinarian on call all the time.
Yeah,
so.
lucky them.
Right.
That's pretty neat. All right, we'll take a break. Be back with more of your calls and Alison Fields right after this.